Howard J. Dingers. And this is 3 Count Review.
Welcome everyone to Smackdown Live.
Smackdown Live Edition.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 3 Count Review. My name is KO, aka Howard J. Dingers, and this is 3 Count Review presented by First Round KO, Smackdown Live Edition. Today I'm in studio by myself, but that's all right. We have plenty to talk about with another great episode of Smackdown Live. This was, last week's was really good, and today. Or yesterday's show, I should say. Yesterday's show was a go-home show. Technically, it was the last televised show before Super Showdown in Australia. So I had high expectations. We got the WWE Championship match with AJ Styles coming up and Samoa Joe. So I had big expectations, especially because of the home angle that they played. The Samoa Joe going to AJ Styles' house last week. So I was expecting a big angle coming off of that, I guess. And then I was also the big expectations for the whole Aiden English one night in Milwaukee thing. And I will say right now that segment delivered. We'll get to that in a second. But overall, I'm a big fan of SmackDown. And again, this week, this was a very good episode of SmackDown Live. It was not as good as last week. It did take a little bit of a step back, but it was still very good. Still overall very entertaining. Overall, told storylines and furthered storylines especially, but not necessarily the best go-home show. So I'm gonna look at this more as just an actual show, just because I'm thinking, Super Showdown is not necessarily a pay-per-view, so it's more of a glorified house show, much like the Greatest Royal Rumble was earlier this year. So I'm going to look at this just as a normal episode of SmackDown Live, and when I look at it like that, this was a good show. So let's just dive right in. SmackDown opened with General Manager Paige in the middle of the ring, and she was there to address what Samoa Joe did last week. To recap, Samoa Joe was not at SmackDown Live last week. He actually went to the home of AJ Styles and threatened to go inside. And we found out this week that because last week the show ended with Joe ringing the doorbell of AJ's house, and then it cut to black. So we didn't know exactly what happened when it cut to black. It was revealed this week that Joe did not enter the house. I believe that the cops were called. I think that's what they were saying. And Joe eventually was there, and some charges were pressed, and for trespassing and all that weird, obviously all storyline. But so that was a little disappointing, I guess. That was interesting. And Paige actually said, and this was a direct quote from what Paige said last night, she said that this was the most dastardly crime in WWE history. Now, no, I'm going to have to completely disagree with that. There's been far worse things that have happened, even in the past couple of years. I mean, Randy Orton burned down Bray Wyatt's, I guess you call it a house, but he burned that down. Randy Orton and Triple H fought in one of their homes one year. I'm pretty sure Undertaker hung Big Boss Man one time. I'm pretty sure that's that one might be up there. This was not the most dastardly crime. It was, I like them trying to put this over as such a big deal, but they need to work on wording, because there's another instance of this later in the show that we'll get to, but they need to work. You can't try to undersell everything else that you've done before just because you want this to feel big. They need to figure out a way to word this where it does feel big, and maybe you compare it to what you have done in the past, but don't say it's the most. First of all, don't use the word dastardly. That's definitely a Vince McMahon word. Second of all, don't say it's the most dastardly crime in WWE history, because they're in the Attitude Era, a lot of crazy stuff happened. So change the wording of that, and it was a really good segment. Apparently, WWE officials and Paige, like the upper management, got together and decided that Samoa Joe should be fired for this. Again, them putting this over, that this was such a big deal. That part I really liked. And then apparently Paige called AJ to talk about this, and AJ told Paige he shouldn't be fired, and I'm going to drop all the charges that are pressed against him. All I want is for that match this weekend to still go on so that I can give him his due justice myself. I like that a lot too. Obviously, I guess you can choose not to press charges, so that works all storyline wise. I like it a lot. And then they show AJ on the Titantron, a pre-recorded video of AJ, and he said that he's apologizing for not being at SmackDown this week. He's at home with his family. Finally, I've been saying that for weeks, that I was really hoping that he was going to be at home eventually to protect his family, which makes complete sense in storyline, so I'm glad they finally did it. He said he's staying at home until he knows for sure that Samoa Joe is on a plane to Australia so that his family is safe. This was good. Now, it was disappointing coming off of the angle that we had last week, because that angle honestly could have happened this week, and it could have been the go-home angle. Like, that would have been fantastic. Then we could have found out what happened. You know, they could have told the story at Super Showdown or something like that, or even next week, whatever. But to have this be the go-home, to have this follow that angle from last week, as good as I thought it was, like, it was very well done, and it furthered the story, it was just a little disappointing coming off of what happened last week. We then move on to the first match of the night. We had a mixed match challenge. I guess it wasn't a mixed match challenge match, but it was a mixed match. It's so hard to say. It was a mixed tag team match. And it was the Fabulous Truth of Carmella and R-Truth versus Andrade Cien Almas and Zelina Vega. Pretty standard mixed match, mixed tag team match. God, that challenge has me all confused. And it was pretty standard, like I said. R-Truth and Andrade did their things, the Tranquilo together with Zelina and Andrade, and then R-Truth and Carmella did the splits together. And they, at one point, Andrade and Zelina were outside of the ring, so R-Truth and Carmella did a dance break like they did last week on Truth TV. The crowd was really into this. The crowd was into R-Truth and Carmella big time. They were very into the dance break. They were chanting Truth TV throughout the match. And, you know, when Carmella does her moonwalk, they were very into it. This match eventually ended when Carmella reversed a pin attempt by Zelina Vega into her submission move, the Code of Silence, and Zelina tapped out. If you haven't seen this reversal into the Code of Silence, I recommend going to see this as a wrestling fan, because it was a thing of beauty. It was actually such a smooth and well-done reversal into this Code of Silence. And I have to say, Carmella looked really good in this match. I went back and watched, because if this was the Carmella we would have had as women's champion, I think her reign would have went over well, and her championship her reign would have felt more significant, and maybe we would have looked on it in better grace. But right now we look at it because she wasn't that good of a wrestler yet. She beat Charlotte and she beat Asuka, two people she shouldn't be necessarily beating clean. But now she actually looks like a competent wrestler. She looked very good, and I really like this oddball pairing with R-Truth. It seems to be working, and it seems to be over with the crowd. And I hope that these losses don't start stacking up for Andrade, because I like him too. He's impressed backstage. Andrade is such a good talent. He's very clean knit in the ring, and he's just very good at just pro wrestling in general, and he's a very good heel. And him and Vega have a very good act going too. I kind of wish Vega wouldn't wrestle as much. I like her just not strictly, but the majority of time just being in the manager role. She's better at that. So I like that. I like both of these acts going on. It sucks that one of them had to take the loss here, but very good segment, very good match, actually, I would have to say. The next segment we have was really, it's hard because the New Day, week in and week out, the New Day tiptoe the line between silly entertaining and silly annoying. And again, they were tiptoeing that line this week. It fell a little more annoying, but it worked out in the end. So let me explain what happens. Now, I also apologize for my voice and any sniffles that I have. I'm at the tail end of a cold here. So the New Day come out and they announced that they are doing the pilot episode of New Day Cooks. They are going to finally reveal the secret recipe for their pancakes. And they were going to have Mr. Bootiesworth, their butler, their pancake butler. They were going to have him show us, the audience, how he makes the New Day's pancakes. I was actually really excited for this. I thought maybe they were going to do some sort of weird recipe type of thing. And I like them involving Mr. Bootiesworth more because it works, especially with what happens later on. The Bar ended up interrupting the New Day. They cut a promo basically. Cesaro said that he's Swedish, so he's better at cooking than the New Day is. I think that was like a Swedish chef type of thing. I don't know. But I liked it. And Cesaro, yeah, they ended up just beating up New Day. The Bar got the upper hand when they threw flour into Kofi, and then they just beat up everyone with their tag team moves, really. Once they got the upper hand and the New Day were beaten up, they took Mr. Bootiesworth. They put him in the middle of the ring because Mr. Bootiesworth had his pancake batter because he was going to make pancakes. And they took Mr. Bootiesworth's top hat off, poured the pancake batter into the hat, put the hat back on him, and it seeped out of his hat. It looked so gross. And this kid was actually doing a really decent job at acting. He didn't crack a smile until the very end. So I actually kind of felt bad for this kid because the Bar were basically bullying him, which is fine. They're the heels. And this worked really well. And then he tries to leave, and Sheamus literally just stood in front of him, like by the ropes, and he wouldn't let him leave. And he eventually went back into the middle of the ring, and Cesaro poured the rest of the pancake batter just on his shoulders, and then they told him to get out. And they celebrated with the titles because it's New Day versus Cesaro at Super Showdown. Decent go-home angle. The only complaint I have is that the New Day have been getting beaten for the past couple of weeks, ever since Hell in a Cell, by the Bar. Like, they lost it in 2 singles matches to Sheamus and Cesaro, and now this. It's just kind of telegraphing a New Day win. I can't see them just dominating this and then winning the titles. That's just too dominant. It kind of devalues the New Day. So I'm not too fond of this storytelling, either way, it's not going to look good for one of the teams. And so I don't like the dominance part of it. But this segment alone, like I said, tiptoeing, entertaining, and annoying. And it was both. Like, the beginning of it was a little annoying. They were very outrageous, like the New Day are, but I quite enjoy that most of the time. And today was no exception. And the end was very good. It made the Bar come off as bad guys, as they are supposed to. The next segment, we had backstage before the commercial. Ty Dillinger asked Paige if he could have a match with Randy Orton. Makes sense because Randy beat him up last week unprovoked. And Paige said, well, are you sure that's a good idea? We haven't seen Jeff Hardy since Randy beat him at Hell in a Cell, which was a great point, great continuity. And Ty said, I don't care. It doesn't matter. I need to do this because he beat me up. He attacked me unprovoked last week, so I need to do this. So Ty got the match. As Randy was making his way to the ring, Ty attacked him from behind. I like that a lot. It shows an aggressive side from Ty Dillinger. Randy ended up with the advantage after a while. It was a very back and forth attack on the outside. Ty actually got the advantage and like back body dropped him onto the table and then was like hitting him and going 10, does this make you upset? Blah, blah, blah. And it was really good. And then eventually Randy got the advantage. And Randy eventually, so what happened, Randy put Ty's finger in like the wire frame of the turnbuckle, so like the part that actually turns into the ring post. And he put it in the middle of it, and then he was just torturing the finger. Like, he was just like bending it one way, bending it another way, and then at the end he just like snapped it, and it looked like he broke it, and it actually looked disgusting. Randy is finding a really good ways to, first with Jeff Hardy in the flesh tunnel of his ear. He did a really good job with that. Now he's doing a really good job with this finger thing. I don't know what else he can do, but he's finding really good ways to safely make an attack look very gruesome and methodical. And I really like this Randy Orton character. Here's another one of those quotes that you can tell is kind of fed to the commentators, much like Paige earlier saying the most dastardly crime in WWE history. Corey Graves, after this attack, said that this was one of the worst attacks he's ever seen. Now, no, like I said, I get trying to put this over, but again, not only are you devaluing everything else you've ever done and what Randy has already done to Jeff Hardy, but it's just not. You're asking the audience to believe something that's not believable. Like, that's not the most gruesome injury or attack we've ever seen. So now you're talking to us like we're children, and like it comes off to me like they think we're stupid and we're just gonna believe that it's the most gruesome thing. Like, we're not all children. The majority of your fan base is not children. I get that you're catering to children for a lot of this, but you can't treat your audience like they're stupid. So I don't, again, changing the wording, changing the phrasing of that can really help put that over more. The next segment we had, Rusev was backstage and he's just very upset. He said, "I'm very excited to see what Aiden has to, both him and Lana are like, you know what, we don't think he has anything. Let's see what he actually has." And Aiden, they go out to the ring and they say, "All right, let's just get this over with." Aiden comes out and he stalls for a little bit. He says, "I do have something, so let's watch it. But first, a little history on Milwaukee." And he says something about how a couple movies were shot there, like Basketball, I believe was one of them, he said. A couple TV shows too. So that was kind of cool. It was stalling for sure, because then that kind of said like maybe he doesn't actually have something. And Rusev literally said, or Lana said that. Lana was like, "Hey, you're stalling. Obviously, you don't have anything." But then Aiden says, "No, I do have something. Let's watch." So the video pops up, and it's shirtless Aiden English in his hotel room, presumably in Milwaukee, because he is in front of his camera. He's filming himself, practicing his intro song for later that night in Milwaukee. Like, he's practicing the that he used to do, and then he would go out and kind of do like a rap song thing for Rusev. He was practicing his lines for Milwaukee, and he got a couple good lines in there. One about the Brewers and some. It was good heel work. So then the video goes on. After he practices about 2 or 3 things, Lana knocks on the door. She comes in, and he goes, "Oh, let me put a shirt on." She says, "Oh no, you don't have to. This won't take that long. It should only take a second." And she says a few things. "I need to say this out loud." And she says, "I need you." And then the video stops. He pauses it. And the crowd is just, "Whoa, what's happening?" And then Aiden plays this perfectly, because Lana's like, no, there's more. Play the rest of it. And Aiden's like, "Oh, trust me, I want to play the rest of this video. I really want to show you, but I'm entertaining an offer for this video from TMZ, and I wouldn't want to cheat on that deal." And that was such a perfect line. This was such a good segment, because you can tell at the end of the video, kind of, you can slightly tell that she says, "I need you," but it sounds like she's going to continue, like, "need you to do something," or something like that. But he edited it. Well, obviously someone edited it perfectly to tease that a little bit. But she still says the words, "I need you." And then Aiden, he's just like, "Nope, I can't show you the rest of the video because I'm going to sell it to TMZ and I'm going to make a lot of money off of it. I would hate to cheat on that." And that was such a good line. This segment was so good. It lived up to the hype. it so much lived up to the hype because they're just playing this perfectly. They're stretching it out. It's not going to end at Super Showdown on a pre-show or something like that. It's going to stretch out. I doubt they'll even do anything at Super Showdown. I hope they extend this and hopefully eventually have a match at Survivor Series, it looks like. But this was just so good. I can't wait to see what they continue to do. It ended with Rusev leaving Lana in the ring, but he chased after Aiden backstage, and then later in the night, he was like searching for Aiden, like, where is he? He took off his sweater, and Lana was like, no, listen, there was more to that. Like, that video wasn't done. I was gonna say more, and Rusev just kept cutting her off. No, we're not talking about this now. We're not talking about it now. We'll finish. We'll talk about it later. And he just kept looking for Aiden. This was done so well, so well. Go watch this segment. It's very entertaining. And I can't wait to see what they do with this. Aiden's playing the heel really well. I can't wait to see what else they have in store for this. The next match was set up earlier in the night, so apparently Shelton Benjamin on Twitter was tweeting about how he's been on the shelf too long and he wants an opportunity, and he's tweeting at Paige. So apparently Miz approached Paige and said, hey, give Shelton an opportunity, give him a match against Daniel Bryan. Perfect heel stuff. Miz went backstage to hype up Shelton and said, you're the real deal. You're an animal. You need to go out there and make a statement against Bryan. I'll be at commentary to watch. Perfect. I love it. Shelton said he's going to make a statement. He's going to hurt Daniel Bryan. And that's exactly what Miz wants. I love this. Love it, love it, love it. Miz, decent match. The highlight of the match was Miz on commentary because he's such a good talker. But this was very typical WWE, where the heel was on commentary, distracted the babyface. Daniel was going for his yes kicks. Miz distracted Daniel, and Shelton Benjamin hit the pay dirt. Great move, love it, and pinned Daniel Bryan clean in the ring. 1, 2, 3. Shocked me. I did not see that coming, but I enjoyed it a lot. Daniel's taking a lot of bumps lately. He's still doing diving headbutts, missile drop kicks. He took one like back shot into the apron, I think. Just be careful, Daniel. I trust that you know what you're doing, but I appreciate you wrestling right now, and I don't want to see you retire again anytime soon, I should say. After this match, Miz, of course, attacked Daniel Bryan. He hit him with a skull-crushing finale and said, see you at Super Showdown. I can't wait for this because Miz was putting over on commentary that he will do literally whatever it takes to win this match so that he'll do whatever it takes for the WWE Championship. And I kind of believe him. And if you want to know what my picks are going to be for that, I will be putting up me and my co-host for my podcast, Connor. We will be putting up our predictions on YouTube. So if you're interested, you can check those out. I think we're going to do them later. They'll be up at least by Friday night. So if look out for the next couple of days. It's on First Round KO on YouTube, and look out at least by Friday. Those picks should be out for Super Showdown. The next match we had was Asuka versus Peyton Royce. Before this, Naomi had a Susan G. Coleman thing. Now, this was good. I liked this because it was Naomi who's a face, and it was just her. No heels out there, nothing breaking continuity. Very good segment. Love it, love it, love it. So I believe Naomi stayed out and was in Asuka's corner. Obviously, Billie Kay was in Peyton Royce's corner. And this is one of the matches. This is the type of thing that I really don't like. I complained about it yesterday with the Ronda match, and I'll stick with it again today. It was the same thing with Asuka. Peyton Royce did 90% of the offensive work, and then at the very end, Asuka hit like 2 moves, Asuka lock, and she won. I don't like that. If you're gonna have a person, if you're gonna have a person dominate, have them dominate the entire match. Like, have the other person maybe get 1 or 2 moves. It should be reversed, you know. It should be Asuka doing 90% of the damage, Peyton getting 2 moves in, but then a quick Asuka lock and Asuka wins. That's how you should structure it. I don't like it the other way around. So I know it's a WWE formula, but it's not something that works. And I really hope they decide to change it eventually here. We then had Becky Lynch's Super Showdown surprise. She said she had a big surprise for us regarding Super Showdown, and that was the main event for the night. She came out, and Becky Lynch basically just said everything, I'm tired of Charlotte being the one who's getting these photo shoot opportunities and getting invited to interviews and blah, blah, blah. I'm the champion. This is my show, and Super Showdown should be about me. She revealed her surprise, which was a new Super Showdown poster, and this was actually really good continuity, and I don't know if they planned this or if they just stumbled on it, because last week when Becky attacked Charlotte was doing a photo shoot. So when Becky stood on Charlotte with the title in her hand, I think the photographer took a few pictures, because that was the picture that they used for this poster, was her standing on her, that exact pose from last week. It was really good, actually. I enjoyed that. And so that was the poster. It was just Super Showdown, the arena that they're going to use. So Super Showdown at the top, and it was just Becky standing over Charlotte. That's it. Because Becky's not even on the actual poster right now. Charlotte's on the poster, but Becky's not. She's the champion. I get they made the poster like 2 months ago. Just make a quick edit. Throw your champion on that poster. Just a tip. And that was great. Becky then had a money line where she said Super Showdown is not about Triple H versus The Undertaker for the last time. It's about the first time that Becky Lynch defends her women's championship. Ooh, so good. I love Becky Lynch. She's rocking this role. She's doing so good lately. She's just on fire. I can't wait for this match. Charlotte comes out and attacked Becky Lynch, and the crowd was booing the heck out of Charlotte. They are very much into it. When Becky revealed her poster, the crowd was super into it. They loved it. They were like, "Yeah, you deserve to be on that poster." Like, they're so behind Becky, even though she's clearly the heel in this, and Charlotte's clear. What they have done with Charlotte. Because Charlotte continued to beat up Becky, and the crowd just kept booing Charlotte. What they have done with Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch is very similar to what they've done with Roman Reigns. Like, the crowd are not behind Charlotte as a babyface, and they're for Charlotte's opponent, and that's exactly what's happening with Roman. So now they've created a female Roman Reigns, which is just bad. Like, it's not good, because Charlotte's really good, but now they're not going to be into Charlotte matches. They're going to fall apart pretty quickly, all that stuff. I just hope that they stay hot for Becky, because that's the only thing keeping, this feud going and keeping it feeling like a main event feud, and it's going to keep the matches going. But if that heat ever dies for Becky Lynch, this feud is going to die pretty quickly, too. It's not going to be good. So they need to figure something out. Make Charlotte the full-blown heel would be my suggestion. Keep Becky as this kind of, like, I'm going to do my own thing type of quote-unquote baby face, but keep her as, like, I make this comparison, the Stone Cold Becky Lynch. Stone Cold was doing this same stuff, but the commentators were putting him over as a face. The commentators are putting Becky over as a heel. So if they just make that slight change, like have Byron and Tom Phillips back her a little more and have Corey Graves go against Becky and go with Charlotte more, just that slight changes major changes to the storyline, and it changes everything. It makes everything so much better. Overall, like I said at the top of the show, this was a really good episode of SmackDown. Not as good as last week. I would probably give it, if I'm doing my 5-star rating, I'll go 3 out of 3.5. I'll go 3.5 out of 5 stars. Solid episode. If I look at it from like a go home show angle, might go down to a 3, but still solid episode. It furthers all the storylines. Whether the segments were good or not, it did further every storyline. So I was very interested with all that stuff. Just super good stuff. I really enjoyed it. As far as Super Showdown goes, my plan is right now, because I am a crazy WWE fan, and I think it'll be fun. Why not, right? I am going to be waking up at 4 a.m. to watch Super Showdown Saturday morning. So I'm very excited for that. I'm just excited for the show. Triple H versus Undertaker is going to be very entertaining. Becky Charlotte's going to be good. AJ Styles and Samoa Joe is going to be good. The 6-man, the Shield and the Dogs of War, that's going to be good. I always love the Iconics. That'll be fun. But I can't wait for Buddy Murphy versus Cedric Alexander. That's going to be such a good match. especially because Buddy's from Australia. He's going to get a really big reaction. Yeah, it's just going to be such a good show. I can't wait. We get Ronda and the Bellas versus the Riot Squad. That should be entertaining. Yeah, like I said, if you want to know what I think is actually going to happen at Super Showdown, prediction video will be up by Friday. It'll be up before Super Showdown for sure. So look out on the YouTube channel for that. If you found us on the YouTube channel, give me a like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're listening live and you missed some of the show, I am on YouTube at First Round KO. Just search that or search 3 Count Review. You'll find us either way. Other than that, thank you guys for listening, and I will see you next week, Tuesday, for the Monday Night Raw review. Thanks, guys.